Through storms, unshaken, unbowed. Through trials and verdicts, still standing proud. A titan in the tempest, against the raging crowd. He's got a vision for the future, gonna shout it aloud. Changing the wind, it's coming fast. A new foundation built to last. Cryptocurrency's the key, make the big switch. Power to the people, time to teach the rich. Legal battles can't hold him, he's moving on. With plans so bold, from dusk till dawn. He's rewriting the rules, a new dawn's day. From the hands of the few to the people's way. Say goodbye to all chains, embrace the new. A financial revolution, fair and true. For the workers, the dreamers, side by side. In Trump's new era, let freedom rise. Changing the wind.
Welcome, everyone, to the Crazy Kryptonaut channel. I'm Zester. I hope everyone is having a wonderful start to the week. It has definitely been a crazy couple of days with everything going on in terms of the political landscape since the fallout from the debates, which I guess fallout really depends on what side of the landscape you're on. If you're on the left, a catastrophe occurred. If you're on the right, then I think we're out there like at a kid's game trying to claim mercy rule. End this. This isn't fair. And so I guess that term really depends on what side you're on. But thank you guys all so much for joining. We have a few interesting ones today. Funny enough, the news has actually been going on in the background. And so everything on the mainstream channels, everything normally, they're not talking about everything that's going on because, well, everybody's focused on Ukraine, Israel, or the fact that the United States president is not really certain whether he's the president of the United States, Ethiopia, who knows where he thinks he's the president of. And so everybody's been focused on all of those major things, and they've been leaving out some of the other very interesting news that's going on in the world. So we're going to go over that today. We're also going to go over, because the NFTs have been created. So for everyone that's participated in the NFT giveaways, those NFTs are going out this evening. I am still going to leave the giveaway open, so you can still absolutely apply. As a matter of fact, I just realized I did not include that in the description today. And so I will be adding that in to the chat now to make certain everyone has that opportunity to sign up for one. I'm going to keep distributing them until the end of the week, until we hit 100 distributed. So I minted 100 NFTs for the first one, and we're going to keep distributing until there are no more. And so that is in the chat. If you have not put in your Ethereum or Polygon or Binance Smart Chain wallet address, they're all the same address, then please do in the giveaway if you are interested in one of the first 100 free NFTs for the community. Besides that, I do also have cat updates to present as well. So we've got a pretty booked schedule today in terms of everything we're going to be talking about. But I am going to go through and say hello first, and then we will jump into the news, and we will move over to kitty cats and NFTs there at the end. And so Captain Spiffy, what is up from Orange, California? Captain Spiffy, I think you're starting to get pretty consistent at being the number one or the number two there. You and Gary and David and Kukla, of course, I think are possibly winning on that one. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you joining us, Captain Spiffy, as always. And Gary, I am so glad to have you as well. And I noticed later on in the chat as I was getting ready, you talking about publishing your works and your writings. And actually, that NFT conversation is a great thing to kind of jump into at that point. And so I am possibly, Gary, going to talk a little bit about that when we jump into the NFT discussion later, because well, that's another way to start being able to put work out there. And of course, I would also love to just personally read some of your work as well, because I know from all your comments and everything that you present in the chat that it's probably particularly interesting. So we will circle back on that one. But thank you so much for joining. And Kukla, as always, thank you so much. And as a matter of fact, actually, I am full Kukla today. Thank you so much for the bracelets and everything else that you sent. It is greatly appreciated. And I know that they come with a lot of prayers and a lot of love. And so I wear them knowing that I am safer on account of it. Oh, what's up, Grandma Sally? Thank you so much for joining today. And Deborah, how are you doing to the ZZ family? Thank you so much. Oh, Crazy Chester. Hello, Zester mods and fellow cryptonauts. Zester mods and cryptonauts. I forget, and I bet Gary knows actually the proper term. It's when it doesn't rhyme, but it sounds like it. Mods and cryptonauts. I'm not certain. But thank you so much for joining. And oh, guys, Savvy, thank you so much. Musical Lady, thank you for being here. And David, thank you so much for my Apple. I greatly appreciate it. I would say, David, I think you're bribing the teacher, and it's working. It's working. David's getting an extra couple of points on every quiz on account of the Apple a day. So thank you so much for being here, man. And welcome. I'm guessing New Mexico hiker. NM hiker. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know if it's not New Mexico there, hiker. Gary, what does my shirt say? I actually really love this shirt. And most people don't know or don't seem to understand it. Believe in yourself, even if nobody else does. And I love this shirt. I don't know why it's stupid, but I love it. I absolutely do. And so anytime I get the chance, I am happy to put it on because no one ever understands it. And to me, it made immediate sense. I was like, believe in yourself. Bigfoot believes in himself. And it immediately made sense. But for very many people, it doesn't seem to. And I do. I love this shirt. Believe in yourself, even if nobody else does. Because we live in a world where mainstream media and where everyone is telling us on so many different topics that we're wrong. And they have no backing for what they believe besides CNN or MSNBC told them so. Or maybe, Biden told them so. But they believe that many folks out there are all off their rockers. And I'm talking about, they believe I'm off my rocker for a lot of my political beliefs. And so in these times, I think that it's very, very important to remember what Sasquatch says and believe in yourself. So yes, Gary, I love this shirt. What is up, Karen Merle Backslid Don? Hey, Zester Z and Kugla from sunny Gastonia, North Carolina. Oh, that is awesome, Karen. That is awesome. Not too far from me. As a matter of fact, I lived in Charlotte for many years when I worked right out of college. And so not too far off, I don't believe. And so I am certain that I have visited Gastonia a time or two in my life, Karen. I am glad to hear that it's sunny. And I know that I am still looking for my full weather update in regards to North Carolina. And I appreciate that coming from the community. It always throws my family off when I know the weather before they'd even tell me when we call each day. So what's up, Cindy TLC? First live, good to be here from 106 in Arizona. 106 Cindy, I assume you don't even need to bother lighting up the stove to go ahead and scramble some eggs in the morning. That sounds awful, but I know that a dry heat in Arizona is different. And thank you so much for joining. What's up? Yeah, savvy, exactly. You never know when it comes to YouTube. You never know. And thank you, Kukla, for always reminding me. Of course, I've got to go through the obligatories. Everything on the podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes alone and should not be viewed as professional, financial, legal, spiritual advice of any kind. Ultimately, there are people out there that have the qualifications, certifications, etc. Please do consult everyone of those different resources because we're lucky enough as a community to have those out there. I know that we have financial advisors. I know that we have lawyers. I know that we have spiritual advisors out there. And so please do consult with them before making any major decisions. We're here to learn. We're here to learn. And that's what we can do. Yeah. Musical lady, U.S. military bases in Europe are in full alert. Very interesting times. There is, and unfortunately, that's not a part of what I cover on the channel, but I know that I've been receiving a lot of very, very crazy reports coming out of Europe, the Middle East, all over the world at the moment. We live in some very, very interesting times. I don't know if that means they're the best of times or the worst of times, but they are undoubtedly interesting times. Oh, and yes, Gary 7 NFT, a non-fungible token, proof of original ownership and original creation. And yes, musical lady, yay for getting out NFTs this evening. We're actually, everybody's going to get to see the NFT later on in the episode, and then they're going to start going out. Faith.family.freedom. What if you do not have a hot wallet or whatever you're using? I do have a Coinbase account. Not sure if that counts, or my ledger. Unsure what is being required. Faith, it is not anything more than just a normal wallet. So something like a Trust Wallet application on your phone, a MetaMask wallet on the computer. These are wallets that you're just able to create as many of as you want. And so it's not important. It's not like it's a big worry what wallet you put in. You'll still be able to get the NFT. As long as the wallet address is an Ethereum wallet address, you'll get the NFT. And so I only said a hot wallet just because we are kind of creating, and this is part of the fact that, you know, we talk about this in regards to how crypto and blockchain technology works. We're essentially, anybody can go in and see the original members of the crazy Kryptonaut community. The blockchain is full transparency and at the same time, full anonymity. And so by utilizing a wallet that you don't use for anything else, you've chosen full anonymity. It's not ultimately that important. I was just presenting that hot wallet option as saying it doesn't need to be the wallet that you're keeping, your long-term investments in. Doesn't need to be. Oh, Kukla, I believe that it is good news on the cats. It's definitely a bit of a, there's lots of wrenches have been thrown in the system recently. And so it has not been a smooth ride, but there have not been any potholes that have resulted in, a pop tire or the like. things are moving forward well in regards to that one. And so I am happy to spend some time talking about that because it is going to be something where I'm going to be talking to the community. There are one or two different routes that are going to end up being taken based off of the next tests that she is going through. And ultimately, those tests are going to determine which of the two avenues are taken. But no matter what, Tina is being taken care of. Matter of fact, little Tina is sitting right over here, being the new lazy bum she has become, because she has definitely started to take on the role of being a house cat. All she wants is to get her food on time and her playtime and her snuggles each day. She is a wonderful, wonderful kitty cat. She's extremely, extremely pleasant. She runs around all the time. She has all the energy in the world now that she's recovered from all the surgeries. But she is. And I can't believe how fast she's gone from being feral to being, just a domesticated house cat. And so she has. It's been tough figuring everything out. But compliments of Diana, the mushroom lady, who connected me with a couple of different veterinarians, and actually Mike Barra connected me with a bunch of different veterinarians in order to help, because he is such a cat lover and wanted whatever was the best for her. I've gotten a lot of new information, so I'm no longer operating off of the Puerto Rican vet's advice, or operating off of the infamously everything online is always correct, right, guys? And so I'm no longer operating off of the Google searches and things of that nature in terms of figuring out the plan, because now I've got a team of vets that are helping and consulting. And so it's not going to be bad news. It's not going to be bad news. All right, though. We got to keep going. I know, little lady, you're trying to hug at the moment. I know. No, you're fine. And so, no, it will not be bad news. No, Kukla, I did not. I am here taking care of Penny and the houses and everything else. It is just Zach in Puerto Rico at the moment. Not even Aubrey, Pops's friend. Nobody is here. It's just Zach on the ground. All right, guys. Oh, there it is. What's up, Neil? Howdy, sister. 84-degree Graham, North Carolina. Hey, actually, seems like y'all are not near as hot today, Neil. I hope that's a good thing, and that doesn't mean it's just a super, super, super humid day. All right. All right, guys, though. We're going to need to go ahead and jump in to the news, and we will start running through it. I know we got even more questions, but we've got so much. I was just looking at the clock. We got so much to jump in today. So I'm going to jump back to questions and such after we get a bit of this news going, because I'm really, really interested in everyone in the community seeing this first article. Because we've talked about this. We talked about what was happening in regards to Mt. Gox, an exchange from back in 2014 that went under when a bunch of people had their crypto held on the centralized exchange. And so their cryptocurrency has been essentially lost for a decade now, and they're now finally being paid back. And so on paper, these are people that have been, in many cases, millionaires. Bitcoin was worthless at that point in time. If they spent $1,000 back in 2014 on Bitcoin, they are multi-millionaires, many times over in many of these cases. And so I find this story to be a particularly interesting one for all of us to read. And it's also very, very important news in terms of the price of Bitcoin in the entire crypto market at the moment. Because Mt. Gox, $9 billion in repayments begin today. How will the crypto market react? And so, for those people that had their crypto held on the exchange and that ended up getting lost in terms of the hack, they're finally getting their money back. So, for 10 years, they've known they're millionaires and they have not had access to that money. And now it's coming back out. And so, Bitcoin's price today has been going up, sitting somewhere around 63,500. We will check on that one after we go through the article. And Mt. Gox, the bankrupt crypto exchange, is distributing $9 billion worth of Bitcoin to its creditors. This leads to a lot of worry around the market. And so expect an extremely volatile market for the coming week because they just got their money back. And the reason that I think this one is so important is understanding what it's like to suddenly have a lot of wealth fall into your hands. I think that's a very, very important thing for everybody to go over. 90+% of all lottery winners, where are they 10 years after they win the lottery? They're in bankruptcy court. That is typically the process. And so this is a similar one. It's going to be very interesting to see how they react. Hopefully, they react in a positive way. They hold on to their wealth and they get it off of centralized exchanges because that's the second big takeaway here. Keeping your money on a centralized exchange. Yes, you may eventually get it back. Maybe. But even in the case of Mt. Gox, they're not getting all of their money out. They're not. They are only going to be getting essentially a portion that, because of the massive price increases that have occurred in the past 10 years, means they're getting a crap load of money. In all honesty, they lost a very large portion of what they had held on that centralized exchange. And this is a very important warning for everyone out there that you may get your money back. You may get your money back if you hold it on a centralized exchange. You know what's never happened? No one has ever had a hardware wallet get broken by someone remotely online. That's never happened. It never will happen because that's just not how they physically work. And so that's another really important one that I wanted to highlight this article for is not only are we going to be seeing potentially an extreme degree of extra volatility in the market because $9 billion is getting dropped in to a bunch of people who have been waiting for 10 years to have it. It's that it's extremely important to keep your money outside of centralized exchanges. And it's not just Mt. Gox. FTX. Now, this is Sam Bankman-Fried. His exchange, where he was doing all kinds of crazy things, besides just donating millions and billions of dollars to Democratic candidates, he was also, stealing the people's money that were sitting inside of his exchange. And his repayment to creditors coming out from the company will start later this year, and that's somewhere around $14 to $16 billion. And so we're about to see over $25 million, most likely, judging by the numbers, because this is just Mt. Gox's beginning distribution and FTX's beginning distributions, most likely more than that, over the coming years. And how are people going to react? And I think savvy that they will rip it out of Bitcoin. They might. But in all honesty, these are people that were early adopters. I have to imagine that for the vast majority of them, what they're upset about is they're upset at themselves. And I know actually from having watched a lot of the interviews with people that were on Mt. Gox, they're not really that mad at Mt. Gox. They're mad at themselves. And I don't think that's right of them either. It was a very, very early days in crypto, and most everyone was not aware of how to handle things. And so I don't think that they should be angry with themselves at all. But I understand why, because ultimately, if it hadn't been on the exchange and they had had it in their own wallet, they'd have had that money the whole time. And they probably would have sold. They would have sold at $10,000 a Bitcoin. They had made $1 million. They'd have sold then, but they didn't because they couldn't. And so now, 10 years later, I kind of wonder whether some of these, whether some of these people are actually going to look at it as a blessing. Because if they had had access to that money the entire time, I bet 99% of them would have already sold, because they would have seen the massive price increase of 2017 and 2018. They would have seen the massive bull runs of the early 2020s. They would have seen the bull run of 2024 or whatever it is we've experienced this year. And they would have sold. And now they're getting their money back. And, well, they can only sell at $63,000. They could have sold at $5,000, and it would have been a huge win. They would have made a ton of money, but they couldn't. And so I wonder, there's probably a lot going on in their minds. And that's why I think it's such an awesome thought experiment for everyone in the community. What would happen if overnight you became a millionaire? You became a billionaire. What would happen overnight? Would you be a quality custodian of that money or not? And I think that we're all capable. I think of myself and I go, oh yeah, I'd do great with it. But in all honesty, I don't know. We really can't be certain. All we can do is prepare and have the knowledge. And so I think this article is a great one for folks in the community to be keeping in mind over the coming weeks. Keep it in mind in regards to the fact that we could see a lot of volatility. We could see a huge amount of sales on Bitcoin, which is going to reduce the value of your other crypto holdings. And we also get to essentially watch and see what the sudden appearance of a lot of wealth does to people. So that article will be inside of the Discord today. And let's go ahead and jump to the next, guys, because we do have a lot. And of course, following the debate, Trump's odds of victory surged to 67% on Polymarket post-presidential debate. Biden's chances at becoming the Democratic nominee also slid to 70%, while Gavin Newsom's odds jumped to 15%. And so what we are seeing from the crypto betting markets is we are seeing a massive abandoning of Joe Biden. And it seems as if the markets are favoring Newsom as actually being that replacement candidate. I always find these to be interesting. Keep in mind, guys, the reason that I find these gambling markets to be so interesting is because it's people putting money on the line. It's not walking down the road and asking some random guy, hey, who do you think's going to win? He's got no skin in the game. He doesn't care. It doesn't matter. In this case, we're talking about people placing thousands of dollars potentially on the table, hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table, and saying that they think they're right. And so that's the reason I believe that the gambling markets are so often correct. Same thing in the vast majority of U.S. presidential elections. The Vegas markets have been correct. Matter of fact, the only time they weren't was in 2016, to my knowledge. If anyone has any more information on that one, I would definitely appreciate it. But to my knowledge, one of the only times in U.S. history that we saw the gambling markets incorrect was actually in 2016. And so here we see an even greater divide, and we do see the bettors. The bettors on the left are betting on Newsom. Oh, GG. Thank you so much for joining, GG. And Zesser, can you answer a question for me? If the stock market crashes, we are digital money crash as well. We will. We will. At about the same time. The difference is going to be on who recovers first. And so the logic behind me saying that, GG, is because people that have investments in multiple different sectors, there are, especially when we talk about the big dogs, the people that own a lot, they have tons of money invested in the stock market. They also have large amounts of money invested in Bitcoin. And so if we see the stock market start to crash, especially financial institutions that are invested in both, what they're going to do is they're going to sell their crypto to cover their losses. And that means that the same thing that we saw back in 2020 with the COVID crash will occur again. Remember, stock market started to plummet. Of course, everybody decided we're going to bail out everybody in the same way that we have in the past. And so the regulators, they all jumped in to immediate action. But ultimately, we saw the stock market and crypto crash at the same exact time. The reason for this is not because the crypto markets are suffering on account of it. They don't care. Our crypto, it does not care what's going on in those other sectors. But when you have a ton of people, really a small group of people that own a lot of both, when they start to see their stock positions failing, when they start to see their real estate and portfolio depreciating, they're going to start trying to cover. And when they start trying to cover, they're going to look to crypto to cover it. And so it's not that crypto or that our digital money is going to immediately be suffering on account of the stock market crash. It is going to suffer because of the way people are going to react to the stock market crash. When people start to freak out, we're going to see that pain move over to us. And so I think that's the better way of going about it, thinking about it. Yes, it will probably start depreciating at the same time. If the stock market tomorrow starts to crash, the crypto prices will start to crash 30 minutes later, essentially. And that is going to be because most of these financial institutions are not playing with their own money. They're leveraged. And GG, as many others in the community do, because I never tire of complaining about leverage trading. Leverage trading inside of Forex or inside of the stock market, traditional finance, it is managed to a point where only institutions are really able to take full advantage of it. In crypto, it's the Wild West, and everybody can essentially take advantage of that leverage trading. And I'm opposed to it on both sides. I'm opposed to it in the form of traditional. I'm opposed to it in the form of blockchain and crypto. But these people that are trading, these institutions, they're trading with leverage on the stock market. They're trading options. They're trading calls, puts. They are trading with leverage. And that means that should something occur on the rest of their financial books, it's going to have to be covered up by the other parts. And so that's the reason. They're not really going to have a choice either. These institutions are going to see those prices going down, and they're going to try to start to cover their leverage. When they do, they're going to start selling anything and everything that they can quickly turn into money. Because whenever, I know that everyone here probably has not participated in leverage trading. When your position is getting to a point of liquidation, the exchange, the people, they freak out. You got to pay them now. You got to pay them now. It's not an option to wait. And so that is going to be the reason that we see that same pain at the same time, essentially, because these markets are still intertwined. Ultimately, there are very few people that are just crypto. they probably have investments in multiple different sectors. And that means they're going to start panicking all around. They're going to panic on their house price. They're going to panic on their rental house price. They're going to panic on their stocks. They're going to panic on their crypto. And that's going to result in everything seemingly being connected. In all honesty, the fundamental value of Bitcoin is not related to the value of the stock market. It's not related in any form or fashion. And so fundamentally, crypto, Bitcoin, all of these tokens and coins should not change at all because the stock market crashed. But they will. They don't have a fundamental reason. It's absolutely a human reason. It's structural. All right, though, jumping back in, and that was a great question. Thank you, Kukla, for highlighting it, and thank you, GG, for asking it. Cindy Lou Baker, XRP and XLM are safe on Ledger Nano X. Yes, they absolutely are. Cindy, you keep that ledger safe with you, and unless someone takes that ledger away from you, your money is safe. And so do not worry in the slightest on that one, Cindy. That's the reason that I point to these examples of where we do need to start taking our money off the centralized exchanges. If something goes wrong, we're going to pay the price for other people's mistakes. It's an extra point of failure. Deborah Muse Wolf, why would anyone use leverage without a stop loss in place? Well, effectively, they do have a stop loss in place, Deborah. That stop loss is what results in that cascading collapse of the overall price, because that's essentially what's automatically built in, Deborah. Now, you can set up a leverage trade and make your own stop loss. You can. And then it will sell at that point in time. Or the exchange will sell when you can no longer cover the amount. And that effectively is a stop loss. The problem is when that stop loss starts to trigger, it's going to start triggering down and down and down and down and down and down, because I get liquidated at one price point, and that reduces the price to a point that the next guy gets liquidated, and the next guy gets liquidated, and the next gal gets liquidated, and the next gal gets liquidated. And then essentially you end up waiting and sitting around in the market and going, well, when is it going to stop? And it will stop when the leverage trades stop and when people quit panicking. And so it will be something big. If it does occur, I would expect everyone to be very, very worried about their crypto at the same time. I will say that even when we look at any of the past times that crypto has really, really had some negatives, it will rebound. And our next stock market crash may not be one where the stock market ever gets back to the same kind of levels, or it doesn't for a long time. When it comes down to cryptocurrency, because of the degree of adoption we've seen, it would be particularly hard to keep it suppressed for a long time. Oh, yeah, no, it does. And Micro, it happens too fast when you're trading with stays and puts. It can break you in a hurry. It can break you in a literal second. I do not suggest people participate in it because it is dangerous, dangerous business. You want to make certain that you are making an extremely educated call and that you have the money to back it up. All right, though, guys, let's continue because I am looking at the clock and we've got a lot to jump into. So Kraken co-founder Jesse Powell donates $1 million, mostly in Ethereum, to Donald Trump. Powell said he is supporting the only major pro-crypto party candidate. Here is the Kraken co-founder. And to keep in mind, guys, Kraken is one of the US-based cryptocurrency exchanges. It is very large. It does focus, as does Gemini, on a lot of institutional trading, but it is open to all of us. And his donation would actually mark the point in time where now Kraken Gemini, and Coinbase have all made political donations to the right. And so at this point, I don't believe there's another large US based cryptocurrency exchange out there that has not sided with Donald J. Trump. Their founders, the Winklevoss twins, are the founders of the Gemini exchange. And so those are the guys, the twins, that had the Facebook idea stolen from them by everyone's favorite Zuckerberg robot. And they went off and created Gemini and invested all of their money in Bitcoin that they actually won from that settlement. And of course, became multi-billionaires on account of that decision. And then on top of that, founders of the Gemini exchange. And so Gemini and Kraken have now thrown their lot in with Donald J. Trump. I'm surprised, in all honesty. I am genuinely surprised that both of them, both groups, both companies have. His donation will be in Ethereum. He said mostly, which does make me curious what else he's going to donate, but mostly his donation will be based in Ethereum. And I am certain that he has many, many more millions to hand over. Continuing forward, though, this is another thing for everyone to be keeping in mind and to be looking out for. Worldcoin is the token that is collecting people's biometric data, and they are planning on unlocking the future of digital identity with proof of personhood. And they utilize biometric orbs in order to prove people are real. So, I do want everyone to be knowledgeable about this. I know that we are a community of folks that are not going to hand over our biometric data to a company or someone like this, but other people are going to. And that means we are going to see this continue forward. Worldcoin has been fairly successful out there, and they are planning on trying to utilize biometric data as the means of us doing everything. So Worldcoin wants us to utilize that biometric data to vote. They want us to utilize that biometric data for our payments so that we could just pay someone based off of a retina scan. They want us to use it for ownership. They want us to use it online so that we can prove we're the real Zester type deal. It is, and in all honesty, if I truly trusted the company, it sounds amazing. The problem is I don't trust anyone to have that type of data and information on me. And so that's the crux of their offer, in my opinion. I personally think that they are pushing for a dystopian type deal. I don't trust it in the slightest, but that article will be inside of the links for the day so that you can share that one out there in the world and make certain that everybody else has nightmares this evening when they try to go to sleep and imagine the authoritarian dystopian world we could be working towards if things like this continue to spread and continue to be popular. Because remember, the vast majority of younger than millennials, of the youngest generation, are not worried about giving up their biometric data. They don't think it's a problem. And so that definitely, I think, lends itself towards a conversation about how across the generations we view our privacy in a different light. Personally, I don't want anyone to have anything on me, but I also am realistic. In the modern world, I don't really have much of a choice on the whole matter. But I do have a choice about giving someone a scan of my retina. And so on the things I do have a choice on, I'm going to choose the option that protects me. All right. Solana ETF applications look like bets on Trump retaking White House, making the United States friendlier to crypto. And so something that we're going to see is that over the coming weeks, months, we're going to see a lot of crypto companies essentially making a bet. And so in this case, Solana is actually specifically pushing for those decisions to be made after the Trump election because they believe the Biden administration will say no, and they believe the Trump administration will say yes. And so this is something we're going to be seeing over the coming weeks and months. Companies, people, billionaires, millionaires, the average everyday person choosing to side with the person, in this case, Donald J. Trump, who actually supports them and what they're trying to build. I would imagine, and Solana is a particularly liberal blockchain. And so the fact that the liberal blockchain is pushing more towards Donald Trump, I think really says a lot about how they feel in regards to Biden's treatment of the crypto industry. And continuing on, guys, sorry if we're running through some of these quickly. We need to get to our NFT discussion and to our Tina discussion. So, crypto unmentioned at first 2024 U.S. presidential debate. Not overly surprised here. I did kind of expect a little bit of a few drops from Trump in regards to information, but in all honesty, I understand why there wasn't any. Trump was just there to let Biden be live on camera for 90 minutes straight. He didn't really ever get an opportunity to have an educated conversation. You can't have an educated conversation and debate when your opponent is, I don't know, somewhere else. And so I did expect to get a little bit more, but after viewing and watching the entire thing live, I'm not surprised that we didn't jump into a complicated topic. Joe Biden couldn't get through basic talking points. How could they possibly, especially because remember, CNN, home field advantage when it comes to Biden. So they were trying to do their best to support him throughout the thing. And so CNN was not going to ask him a tough question on the future of finance. They just weren't going to do it. So not surprised at all that we did not hear about crypto. I do expect we'll start hearing about it in the same way that we've been hearing about it from Donald Trump's campaign for the past months. We're probably going to start hearing it from the Biden or Newsom or whatever administration is actually running for office in 2024. I can't imagine it's Biden, but we'll see. And I imagine whatever that candidate is, they're going to be discussing the future of the financial system a whole lot. And at that point, I then expect us to maybe have some actual back and forth between Trump and the Democratic Party. But as we continue forward, Philippines adopt Tether for Social Security payments. This is an interesting one. Remember, guys, when it comes down to it, USDT or Tether is absolutely not the most trustworthy stablecoin out there. It is the largest. A lot of that money is held in China. A lot of that money is unaccountable at many times. So I'm not personally a huge trusting Tether on that kind of level, but the Philippines are. As a matter of fact, they're going to start utilizing Tether for Social Security payments. This is just more and more and more of the traditional world we're used to living in being integrated with blockchain technology. This is not going to stop anytime soon. We're going to continue to see more countries, more governments, more companies are going to be integrating with crypto. As a matter of fact, Sony, the ones making your PlayStation, your TV, maybe even your microwave, who knows what else they make, to restart Japanese crypto exchange Whalefin that they purchased from Amber Group in 2023. And so now we see traditional corporations, electronics, Sony, deciding to make the move over to actually running a cryptocurrency exchange. Don't know if I would have guessed that Sony was going to be the first one to do it, but hey, or well, not the first one, but this early to making that type of switch. But hey, here it is. Sony moving over. All right. And there is our last one before we jump into NFT talk. Roaring Kitty faces security fraud claims in doomed GME lawsuit. Keith Gill, and that is the guy's name who is actually Roaring Kitty, the one who has been rounding up the troops in regards to the GameStop squeeze. Also is a large part, rumoredly a large part of the future silver squeeze. There is a lot of rumors in regards to that Keith Gill and the rest of the GameStop guys will be coming for silver after they get done with wrecking the hedge funds over on GameStop, AMC, and a lot of those other companies that were being shorted to death. And everything appears extremely positive that there is no way that any of these security frauds or the SEC are going to be able to come after Keith Gill. And also, Keith Gill put out a confirmation that he is indeed not a kitty cat the other day. And so there's a lot more going on in terms of this story, guys. I know that it's not something that's primarily focused on everything I talk about, but at the same time, I just cannot ever miss the opportunity to laugh at the hedge funds and the billionaires losing money. I just can't avoid it. I can't give it up. I'm sorry. I'm weak, guys. I'm weak. When I see an opportunity to make fun of the billionaire hedge funds, I'm gonna take it. And so this article as well will be inside of the links for the day. And let's go ahead and go over to our first NFT. And so, guys, for everyone that has put their information in, I will be going through this evening. And I do have some meetings. And so it's just I'm going to go through and send them out one at a time. I will be going through and sending out everyone's free NFT that has put in their information on the link. And so the original Cryptonauts Club. This is the image. And then we have our description. And of course, everyone will get to go through and read that one themselves. But ultimately, our first NFT I created on OpenSea. OpenSea is the largest NFT marketplace on the planet. It is primarily designed as a marketplace. So these NFTs can serve a variety of different purposes, but what they're truly used for is a matter of tokenizing art. And that is for sale. And so in this case, it is for free. And I will be sending them out to everyone that's put in their information up until 100. And then I'll run out and there will never be more. And so our first one will be designed around showing people a NFT marketplace and what OpenSea is all about. And so you'll be able to go in and view your NFT in OpenSea. You'll also be able to view your NFT on any wallet that shows Polygon NFTs. Co-Badger, Sester made a coin. No, this is just a free NFT. The reason that I made it was so that people would have an NFT that they could look at, see, and that they could use as an example for free about how things work. And so our first one is actually this 100 tokens for the original viewers of the Crazy Cryptonaut channel. So this will be only 100 of them will ever exist. It is 100 of the same exact one. Each one is labeled 1 through 100. And so that is the only degree into which they are non-fungible. Fungible, like your US dollar. If something is fungible, it means one of it is worth the same as any other version of it. $1 is worth $1. It doesn't matter if it's in your pocket, my pocket, torn up, whatever. If it's still a legitimate dollar, it's 1-to-1. In this case, there are 100 copies. Each one is the same description, the same image. The only difference is which ones are minted first. Were you first in line or 100th in line? And this is going to be our first example of a free NFT for people to start thinking about the different applications that NFTs can be used for. And so I'm going to continue the giveaway on this one for the rest of the week. Now, the next NFT that will go out will again be free, but the next NFT, each one is going to be a 1-of-1. And that means on the next NFTs, there will only ever be one. This one, there are 100. And so we have 1 through 100. Now, some people might say that the first one is more valuable than the 100th one. Or somebody might say that, because 13 is their lucky number, that the 13th copy is their lucky one. In our next NFTs, they will be 1-of-1s. And so this giveaway is going to continue for the 1-of-100s until Sunday. This Sunday, and then nobody gets any more of them. There won't be any more of this NFT handed out after Sunday. On Sunday, if I have any left, I'm keeping them. I don't know what I'll do with them. Maybe I'll burn them and show people how that works. Whatever. And then after it will be 1-of-1 NFTs, and they will be your profile pictures. And so for folks that are interested, on Wednesday, I will put out a new giveaway link that will be for the creation of your 1-of-1 profile picture using AI. I am going to essentially leave that giveaway open forever. At least until it gets to a point where I can't keep up, and then I'll have to say, my apologies. So it will be first come, first serve until Zach runs out of time in the day. And so this 1-of-100, everybody gets the same NFT. For the next giveaway, again, free, it will be a 1-of-1 photo. It will be me taking the description you give me, putting it into the AI, and then sending you back the photo that the AI created in the form of an NFT. So you'll have your personal photo made by AI, and you will be the provable only owner of that artwork because it will be created and immediately tokenized. That means no one could ever copy you. And so we're going through different applications. To me, this is a unique way of going through and learning about what non-fungible tokens can be used for. Because our first application is really just a matter of showing you, look, there's 100 of them. There only ever will be 100 of them. Okay, one application. The next one is going to be an application where it is proof that there's only one and there never can be more. And so we're going to keep working our way through different applications of this technology with free NFTs. That way, everybody gets to hold on to their personal part of being a member of the Cryptonauts. In this case, these are really, and they're even named the original Cryptonauts Club. And so every member that holds 1-of-the-100 will be a part of the OG crew that were here at the beginning and that put in their application. So the next one where we start to make 1-of-1s for members of the community, those are going to get even more interesting. I will say that I will be minting those live so that there is no doubt that Mile High Trish's one is perfect. And no, Mile High Trish, you do not need to. I know you're on my list, and I was waiting to make this announcement to everyone because I felt bad that I had not already gotten you one, but I had this plan the whole time. I just wanted to get through the first application of NFTs, and then I wanted to start making the profile pictures. And so it will be provably utilizing blockchain technology, yours and yours alone. So if you ever do, after you get your profile pic, your AI photo, whatever you want to use it for, that's fine. You will know. If anyone else out there makes something awfully similar to it, you will know that this one is yours. Greg, which app are you using to build those profile NFTs? So for the profile NFTs, I'm actually going to be making those manually. And so I will show you how to do that though, Greg. That will actually be a part of the shows next week. I will have one where I show people how to make an NFT. The reason I did these the way I did is because it is on the marketplace. This was designed to kind of show the most shallow level of what NFTs are used for. This is the shallow level. This is that very, very basic understanding of a GIF, an image, something like that being tokenized. This is the basics. And so we're starting with what is essentially the most shallow part of the technology. There are 100 of them, only 100, and there only ever will be 100 or less than 100 if someone burns one. And they are a unique signature that you can always go back to and say, yes, look, it's proven. I was a member. Now, what you also have the option for, and now I am not in any way, and I will not ever get anything from this, but because I minted them on the OpenSea exchange, you could technically put them up for sale if you so chose. And so that was another thing that I wanted people to be able to do. Not because I think anyone should go out and buy one, but because then you can. You could go in and technically I could come here and I could say, I want to list one of them and I want to sell it for I'm going to sell it for $345 million. And I'm going to put these, well, that's just the starting price. I mean, yeah, we'll start the price there and we'll let it go for 6 months. And we'll complete listing. And so I am going to put one up for sale for the low, low price of $350 million. That is what I wanted people to be able to see and mess around with on their own, is by being on here and seeing how things work, you're able to then go around and see how NFTs in the future will work. Ultimately, it will end up being a system just this simple when you want to sell your house, when you want to sell your one-of-one collectible card, your Babe Ruth rookie card. You'll be able to go in and you'll be able to set a sale that easily. Of course, these are not to make money. That's not what they're there for. But they're there to show people how this marketplace works, how things that are tokenized will be utilized in the future. And so I hope everyone does. I will include a link to the collection on OpenSea. And so let me make certain that I get that just right. And I will go ahead and actually plug that in. That's the Crazy Kryptonaut NFT collection. And it only costs 100,000 Ethereum, or a very, very low price of $345,638,000. And so if we're just going off of the current value, then technically I'm sending everyone in the community $350 million tonight. So I'm just saying, can I write that off on my taxes? Can I write that off on my taxes? And they're free, Savvy. They are free. But if it does end up being worth that much, then absolutely. Absolutely. I would highly recommend selling. But all right, guys, we have gone through that one. I am going to go through with our last little topic of the evening, and it is in regards to Tino and Tina. Now, Tina has been maintaining or staying with me during this time since the diagnosis, and Tino has been staying away. Unfortunately, judging by what I have learned so far, I essentially have three options. And so all of this is going to be a matter of actually waiting, because the first thing was after talking with the veterinarians that Diana and Mike Barra connected me with. I was informed that I need to have alternate tests done on Tino and Tina. And so that's the first thing. Tina is going to get alternate tests with the hope that she is not actually positive. Tino is also going to get extra tests to ensure that he has not been infected during any of the time where he did or was around Tina. According to the veterinarians, the chances of Tino having it are beyond small. It only transmits through blood and what is it? I'm trying to think of an acronym for doing the inappropriate. Doing the inappropriate, doing the horizontal Charleston. I'm not certain what the best word is for that on a live stream. So anyone has a recommendation, hit me up with it, because I just had to think up that one on the spot. It is blood, or it is sexual contact. That's the only way. And they never fought, never had blood around, and of course they're both fixed, so they didn't do anything of that nature. So Tino, 99.99% most likely, never had even a chance of them having anything occur. Them playing together, assuming they're not rough with each other, which they never were, essentially means he most likely does not have it. And he's already been tested once. He will be tested again. He is negative. And so he is staying away from her. Not going to be risking his health for any reason. I know many people have suggested that there are cats that live together, and both one has FIV and the other doesn't, and they live out many, many years that way. And to that, I would say that's great. Ultimately, I think that would be, in my case, morally irresponsible for Valentino's health. So, with those things understood, I am, because the veterinarians did say that they are very, very, very concerned about the validity of the tests. And so I'm going to be having Tino and Tina run through different tests that are actually double checked by separate veterinarians to ensure that she is, or he is, or whatever the case ends up being, that it is 100% accurate. There are a variety of different odd situations where Tina could have tested positive and not be positive. It is a possibility. And so she and he are going to be going through more testing. Ultimately, if she is positive, and it remains that she is positive, and Tino is not positive, if that ends up being where it comes out to, in that situation, I am not going to keep them together. I'm not going to do it. I know that many people have suggested different treatments, and that they are great for cats with FIV. And I absolutely will make certain that Tina is taking it. And Tino, just to double up and make certain he stays safe. But I'm not willing to put them together if she ends up remaining positive. Now, if it comes back and the tests show that Tino is also positive because of any of these things, then they get to live together and enjoy the rest of their lives. And I run Sick Cat House that is super healthy, and the cats are going to be, eating and consuming every amount of vitamins possible. But essentially, if we have the situation occur where Tino is negative and Tina is positive, I am, because I did confirm this, Tina is allowed to fly. And so, if we end up with a situation where Tino is negative, and for Tino's health, I need to keep him away from Tina, then I will at that point be looking for members of the community that would like to receive Valentina. And so, I want people to go ahead and be aware that there is a possibility that Tina may be looking for a home. That home would have to be willing to take care of her to an extreme level, because she will need her medications. And then when I say medications, it's really a matter of vitamins, healthy eating, and she'll need to be in a home that does not have any other cats, or that only has FIV positive cats in it. Right now, I am not freaking out about finding somewhere for Tina to go. Tina is staying with me. I am not in any way going to let her go to the shelters here, because I know what will happen. And so the only option is, if Tino and Tina, after all the extra testing, end up where they can't be together, then I will be looking for someone that would consider receiving Valentina. This is, from my thought process, the only moral way to handle the situation. Ultimately, I cannot allow for Valentina to be with anyone in Puerto Rico, because in Puerto Rico, that's the answer for an FIV positive cat. So that's not a choice. I don't want to risk Valentino because he is my baby. I already feel awful because I have to stay away from him essentially all of the day. And so, Valentino is suffering because he is alone, and he is not a cat that likes being alone. But I'm going to get all the tests done. I'm going to get Tina on her regiment, and then it'll be a matter of waiting a couple weeks. So it should take, they said, about 3 weeks from today. I should have all of the final information. At that point, if Tino is negative and Tina is still positive, because there's a chance she isn't. There's a chance it was all just a bunch of mistakes, and that vet deserves to be shut down. It is a possibility. But if it ends up being where Tino is negative and Tina is positive, and I will then be looking for a member of the community that would like to have her, because that's the only thing I can do. Otherwise, I don't really have an option. I don't have the ability to keep these cats separate. And I would forever, I would blame myself if I allowed Tino to be around her and he did come down positive. I would never forgive myself. And so then maybe that's somewhat selfish, because I'm more worried about, how I would feel in terms of guilt. But in all honesty, I think that is the moral standpoint. So they're both starting on their super sauce regimen. They're both starting on their healthier food regimen. They're both starting on their vitamins. And the tests will be done, and I'll find out the answers. And so if there are people in the community that would consider taking care of the medical needs that Tina will have, because it will be needs. She's not going to be your normal kitty, but she also is. I mean, she's sleeping right behind me right now. And she is, not only is she healthy and energetic and as normal as a cat can get, she's happy as a clam. And so this is not an illness where she is suffering. The problem is that over time, if she's not properly treated, she has a chance of having major complications. So it is something where I don't want anyone to go ahead and get their hopes up that they will, because if the tests come back negative, then her and Tino are getting right back together. But if the tests come out and it's for the worst, then Tina will be looking for a home. And so I wanted everyone to be aware. And also, I wanted to thank everyone so much for the amount of love and the amount of support that has been given over it. I know that ultimately, I don't have any option that I'm happy about because I want Tino and Tina together and I want them happy and healthy. And that's what I want. But I don't know if I'll get that because the only situation where they get to be together means that they're both sick. And that means that me getting what I want ultimately is a bad thing. And so what I wanted in the past, what I want now is for Valentina to be negative and for the tests to have been done wrong and for a veterinarian to tell me that Tina is perfectly healthy and fine. That's what I want. I don't know if that's what I'm going to get, but I'm going to find out. I'm going to find out. And so, just so everybody is aware, there may be a little Tina looking for a home soon, or there may be a time where they're both perfectly fine. So we will find out very, very soon. Kukla, I did notice that you have had people reach out. I'm so glad to hear that. And I'll be keeping everyone up to date because if we end up at the point where it is the worst case scenario, then I will be immediately looking to the community. I am blessed and Tina is blessed that because of the community, we potentially have an option. Because if it weren't for y'all, there wouldn't really be any option. And that's horrifying, in my opinion. Horrifying. Because she is such a sweet, sweet kitty. And she's only been inside of a house for 2 weeks. She still should be a wild feral maniac. And she's not. She sleeps in bed with me every night. Every night. And ever since the surgeries, she has so much energy and so much, just drive. And she has those beautiful, beautiful eyes. She really does. She looks like she's wearing eyeliner all the time. Yeah. And she has one of the grumpiest faces in the world. She has, and I say this lovingly, but she has got one wicked case of RBF because she's not mad at you, but she sure looks like she is. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I know we went much later today. Thank you, Kukla, for everything, as always, everything you do, and also for staying later in order to keep going through with talking about Tino and Tina. And absolutely, thank you so much for fielding some of those questions and answers. Oh, NM Hiker, thank you so much for the super chat. NM Hiker says, feeling your pain and just want to help. Hope this helps. You're such a kind guy. Thank you, NM Hiker. Honestly, I've been very, very morally conflicted over all of it because I don't really have any options. I can't send her to some place because I know what they'll do to her. So that's not an option. I can't keep them together because I can't risk Tino's health because that's not an option. And so I'm very, very glad to have so many loving and amazing people that are out there that would potentially be the saviors of little Tina. So there's the cat update. I know there will be folks that are questioning and asking about that one on all the streams throughout the week. And so I guess y'all will all be able to give those answers inside of the chat. And so thank you guys all so much for everything. Thank you so much for the support. I am very excited to be getting these NFTs out. We're going to be sending those out in the next hours. And so expect, everyone's going to be getting one individually, maybe even with a little note on each one. And so thank you guys all so much for everything. And I will see you all again on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Love y'all. I hope you have a blessed week and see you soon.